Oh, there's that Odric. Oh. Yeah, it's Defy Death time. Crack a blood token, discard a card, a chroma. Oh, that's a Marshal's Anthem. Defy Death on a chroma. Play this Odric.
Today on Commander Replay, we ask the question, is Odric Blood Cursed keyword combat any good? Find out next on Commander Replay. Help support me and save 15% on singles by using the promo code REPLAY at mothershipaTX.com. Commander Replay t-shirts, available in orange and colors beside orange.
Welcome back, everyone. Trying out Odric Blood Cursed today. Take a look at this opener. No red mana is a thing, but two pretty cool utility lands. We do have this Defy Death, which I'm kind of excited about. I guess the question is, can we survive without red mana? Oh man, the rest of the cards in here are really good though. That's the issue. So if we could find a creature of some sort, yeah, let's try it. There's a lot of good cards in this hand. Even the worst case scenario, if we find an off-color fourth land, we can draw with War Room and hopefully get to where we need to go. There's a lot of days that I probably would have mulliganed this hand though. I really don't like using Sejiri Glacier as the land if I don't have to. I really like to keep up Sejiri Shelter. Such a helpful card late in a game. Trusty Machete for opponent. Nice little equipment. Pump your stuff up. There's a Mana Crypt that makes our hand a lot faster, but doesn't really solve our color issues at all. Let's get the Sejiri Glacier in. We'll hold the Mana Crypt for now. Opponents don't need to know about that. Hey, next turn we can cast a Feast and Famine, although I don't know that we have a lot of follow-up after that. Ooh, you know what we can do? Next turn we can cast the War Room, play the Mana Crypt, and then draw a card. That's what I'm talking about. Now we're talking. Brings back to our turn. There's a Sword of the Animus. Yeah, we're catching all the really good stuff, just not the colors of mana that we need. But Sword of the Animus gets us to the colors of mana we need, so that's pretty cool. Get the War Room into play. Play the Mana Crypt just like we talked about. We're at 6 cards, so yeah, we can draw. We'll just draw right now. It's a Plains, not the color we need. Ouch. I mean, with the Mana Crypt in play, there's a lot of white creatures in the deck. If we run into one, we should be able to cast it pretty quickly. Anyway, let's take a look at our commander. So it's Odric Blood Cursed, 3 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, create X blood tokens, where X is the number of abilities from among Flying, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance. Found among creatures you control. So, reminiscent of the second Odric, but in my opinion, not nearly as good. Odric 2 is a pretty cool card, especially in Boros. One the flip right there on Tails. But yeah, it's a really cool card in Boros, and I just don't know. I don't know about this thing. I'll talk more about it in a second. We draw into a Necroma, and let's play a Plains. We're at 7 cards in hand. If we play the Sword of the Animus, we won't be able to draw with War Room, so let's cough our equipment out there and hope it doesn't get blown up. If we had the mana, I would cast the Sword of the Animus and then draw. Keep looking for that red mana, but next turn, perhaps. So, as far as this deck, the deck I settled on today is just combat keywords with some equipment. When I started looking at the list of creatures that... Oh, yep, there's a Raven form on the Feast and Famine. That one goes down. As long as they leave us the Sword of the Animus, I get it. Feast and Famine's a nasty card. You should probably shoot it. But if they leave us the Sword of the Animus, we can still do a lot of really good things. So, actually, you know what? That gives us a creature that we can attack with. So, all things considered, do I love losing a Feast and Famine? No, it's an insanely good card, but we do need a creature right now, and this should solve our mana problems. Opponent gets themselves a Thran Dynamo. Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at Drakuseth here pretty soon. That is not great. Perhaps maybe that would have been a better spot for the Raven form, but hopefully there's more removal for that Drakuseth. The good news is that a Chroma is big enough to withstand a damage shot from Drakuseth. Okay. Opponent plays Binding of the Old Gods, destroy target non-land permanent on mode 1, and they blow up the Thran Dynamo. Yeah, not looking to get into the Drakuseth business just yet. I can appreciate that. There's another 1/2 over to Sean. Yep, that is Gilrana, Caller of Wirewood. So that brings it back to our turn. There's the Mana Crypt. We'll go Tails. Lost the flip. Swords of Plowshare is handy to have against that Drakuseth. Play the Hall of Heliod's Generosity. Put the Sword of the Animist on the bird. Even though it kind of helped us, we're still going to attack Sean for blowing up our Feast and Famine. There's a Sword of the Animus trigger, and let's get that mountain that we so badly need. We hit them for 2, and we'll draw with the War Room once again. It's a Stoneforge Mystic. More equipment. So anyway, let's take a peek at the deck. This is what I settled on. So we see some creatures with keywords. We've got Rograk, we've got Akiri, we've got Swiftblade Vindicator. I've got Prophetic Flamespeaker, is a really cool card that I haven't seen people really posting with Odric yet, but I think makes a lot of sense in this deck. Also an Aerial Responder, and it just so happens that most of these creatures get a lot better when you put equipment on them. So, I don't know, maybe it's just me being me, but I didn't necessarily set out to build an equipment deck, but as I started seeing which creatures make the most sense with Odric, I'm like, all these creatures are really good when you put equipments on them. So that's kind of where we ended up. It's sort of like a half Voltron, half Go Wide mixture of stuff. Overall, my feeling is that the 99 of this deck is probably better than the Commander. Like, the cards in here are just good, so they'll do a lot, but I don't know how much we're going to get out of Odric here. We will see. One cool thing that we can do, and this was very intentional on my part, is that with the blood tokens... Ooh, a Gleamcrawler from opponent with the really scary art. Ugh, hate that art. It's got to be like one of the creepiest Magic arts. Super sweet card, though. One I haven't seen in a long time. Brings it back to our turn. Well, the bad news is that Drakuseth is now in play. That happened while we were chatting and taking a peek at the deck. We'll see if Sean wants to do anything about it. Play the Plateau. Think maybe get the Stoneforge Mystic right here. Pro Red Sword would not be a terrible idea. Only Sinew and Steel today. Apparently I forgot to put Fire and Ice in here. I built this deck pretty quickly, on a bit of a time crunch, as usual. So we'll play the Sinew and Steel. We will equip the Sinew and Steel. We shall go to combat. We shall... Let's hit fish. Are we blowing up their artifact? They're in not the best spot. I'll give them a turn. Sword of the Animus ability. Let's get another mountain just in case, because there's a lot more plains in this deck than there are mountains. So, in case you're wondering how Drakuseth came in, it was off of a Geosurge, a card that a lot of people tend to forget about, including myself. Probably one that I need to look at a little bit more than I do. No planeswalkers in play. But 2 artifacts. We'll shoot the Trusty Machete. I know how backbreaking it is for fish to be playing like high mana deck and just to blow up all the rocks. So they'll get at least one more turn. I mean, I guess the other question is, since we have Pro Red now, do we need to shoot that Drakuseth? That's a keeper of the Accord. Fish says Caw Blade. Falcon Chop. Yep. Cracks a Prismatic Vista. Anyway, getting back to our commander. So I do know that there's a 4-card combo available with Odric. I just didn't have the deck slots for it, and I felt like trying to do both in a single deck is probably a recipe for disaster. I think you're either a combo deck or you're an aggro deck. I don't know that you really want to be going both for the most part. You know, you really want to prioritize one over the other because it's a lot of cards. It's not an easy combo to assemble. Yeah, people gonna lose some stuff. So Gilrana getting shot, Stoneforge Mystic getting shot, and Keeper of the Accord getting shot. We could defy death, the Stoneforge Mystic, if we really need to. Might be on a Chroma this turn. Oh, that's a Solitude. Who played that? Is that Sean? Yeah, Sean played it. I'm curious about why he didn't do that sooner. Maybe he was doing the same wait and see thing that we're doing. Oh, he's going on the Gleamcrawler. Ooh, spicy. I see what he's doing, because this creature would just come back with Gleamcrawler at the end step. Man, this is such a cool card. I need to build a Gleamcrawler deck. Such a fun card. Drakuseth blows up everything else. Opponent has no creatures in play, but they gain Death Touch. Until end of turn seems like a waste, and Binding of the Old Gods goes down. Phyto Titan. It's another silly card. When it dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of their next upkeep. It's a little slow, but it's cool. If a game goes really long, you got a 7/2 that just keeps coming back. Pretty sweet. Talk about opponent's decks in a minute. Let's go, Tails. On the flip. Rograk, you say. How much mana do we actually have? We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're one short of going a Chroma and New Odric, which is disappointing. But maybe we go Rograk. I kind of want to cast New Odric and see what happens. Definitely want to do that. We could steal Shaper's Gift for something. We can get Sunforger. That's the thing we could do. I haven't actually played Sunforger in a very long time. In fact, it wasn't working on Magic Online for a little while, and I hope they fixed it, because it'll be really bad if they didn't. Okay. Let's cast Rograk. Maybe we'll try out our commander here. The correct thing to do is go steal Shaper's Gift, get Sunforger, and I think we have exactly enough, what did I say, 9 mana? Yeah, that's exactly enough to cast Equip Sunforger and leave up an activation. But I've played a lot of Sunforger on this channel. I think we know how that one works by this point. So let's try out this new card and see where that gets us instead. In ETBs, we get 4 blood tokens, and we can pay 1, tap it, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact, and draw a card. Looting, essentially. Oh, we could loot the Acroma, I think, and no, we'd be a little bit short, but we might hit a land drop, which would be helpful. Who's getting attacked? Xeno hasn't been attacked yet. Sword of the Animist. Get a plains this time. Start working on plains towards Emeria. Sinew and Steel trigger, no planeswalkers. Shoot the Fire Diamond. Taps in response. They are going to Chaos Warp their own Fire Diamond. That's interesting. Hoping to get lucky. And they do! It's a Rogue's Passage! Not a bad little way to trade things in. Personally, I'd probably Chaos Warp our Sinew and Steel, though, because that is not great for what they're wanting to do. Oh, you want a card I just realized needs to be in this deck that I didn't put in here? Inspiring Statuary. Whoops. That'd be really good with what we have going on right now. Oh, what to do? Let's draw. That's a Blasphemous Act. That's a card. We'll pass like that. Probably shoot this Drakuseth, because I think we're on the chopping block to lose more stuff, if Sean doesn't want to do it. Land tax for Sean. End step, we will Swords the Drakuseth. A card that I always want to make work, and I just haven't really played the deck for it. I know there's a couple out there, I just haven't personally played them. Is Gearport Ether Grid, and it could be reasonable in this deck. If you're expecting to make a lot of artifacts, then having places to use them could be kind of cool. Flame Tongue Kavu, something's getting blown up. Gonna shoot our commander. That's fine, actually, because we can recast it and get more blood tokens. Seems like a thing. I'm really torn about whether I want to discard this Acroma. You know we can discard? We can discard this Dismantling Wave, because we have cleaned out all of our opponent's artifacts and enchantments. That's what we can do. Moldervine Reclamation. Whenever a creature dies, you gain a life and draw a card. Yep. Seems pretty good. Kodama's Reach for opponent. Opponent's going on the attack with the Phyto Titan. We will do the discard thing that we talked about right now. Discard the Dismantling Wave, and it's an Akiri. Akiri's more card draw. Excellent. Also indestructible. Indestructible. Seems handy with what's going on. Brings it back to our turn. There's the Mana Crypt. Tails. Lost the flip. Teferi's Protection is a very good card. Play this Akiri. Move the Sinew and Steel to Rogue Rack. And let's do some more attacking. We'll poke Sean with the Rogue Rack. And we'll poke Fish with the Bird. 2 Akiri triggers, and a Sword of the Animist trigger. There's a land. There's another land. Use the Animist ability. Get a plains. Sinew and Steel trigger. No planeswalkers. No artifacts worth shooting. We'll play the Sacred Foundry untapped? Or tapped? Play it tapped. Play the Steel Shaper's Gift. We'll get the Sunforger and then worry about casting it next turn. Looks on Warhammer is also not terrible right here. Does Hearth and Home do anything cool for us? Oh, we can blink our commander with Hearth and Home. That's kind of cool. I haven't played Sunforger in a long time. New card, old card. New card, old card. I guess new card. Pass like that. Because I guess that also turns on the Defy Death, Stoneforge Mystic, Blink Stoneforge Mystic play to continue getting equipment. A land tax trigger for opponent. Oh, I forgot Concerted Effort. Should probably put that one in here too. That is one of the things I thought about too, is like maybe you do kind of a Reanimator thing with Odric and just try to use these to discard big clunky creatures and then, bring them back with Defy Death, Miraculous Recovery, and stuff like that. Drakuseth back to play. Yep, that is a magic card. Flame Tongue Kavu our way. Yeah, we'll just take that. We could do the Akiri trick with Blasphemous Act. That is a lot of mana, though. Tormod the Desecrator coming in. Migration Path. 2 lands for opponent. If opponent sent this at us, we'd lose quite a bit of life. I'm going to send it over to Fish. I like this because, it's a 7-2, and it's sort of like, I just got to take this damage, because they're not going to block with Drakuseth. I just like that attack. I think that's funny right there. Because, you could trade it, but you really want your Drakuseth in play. Might leave the bird back this turn. Maybe we're also on Acroma. Acroma with a sword makes Drakuseth not attack us. And that seems like a pretty good place to be. Brings it back to our turn. I think I was going to draw with the War Room and forgot. Did we already do that? Mana Crypt, Tails. Oh, there's that Odric. Well, that's... Oh. Oh. How much mana do we have? Play this thing. Crack it. Just get a plains, I guess. Could use the Mistveil Plains at some point, but whatever. We have 13 mana to our name. That is enough to go that. That's 11. I know, it's Defy Death time. Crack a blood token, discard a card, a Chroma. Oh, that's a Marshal's Anthem. Defy Death on a Chroma. We have an Achroma, and it's an 8/8. Lovely. Play this Odric, and that leaves us exactly enough for Teferi's Protection. Seems like a good place to be. No, does this thing have haste? No haste in there, sadly. Go to combat. A Chroma on the bottom. Spread all of our abilities. Yeah, that's quite a few keywords. Make everything giant. Can we kill anyone? Yeah, wow, that's, wasn't expecting to have that kind of turn, honestly. Is that enough? How much is that? 17 plus that? I think it's Xaxes. Sword of the Animist and Akiri. Get a Plains. Fish goes down to Xaxes. Still no Sinew and Steel triggers. Turn 8, not too bad. It's not exactly blazing fast. Also, we needed, like, a bunch of really strong cards to get there. Mana Crypt being one of them. And early Sword of the Animist being another. Pass like that. Sit on a Teferi's Protection. We are in a good spot. Probably cast our commander second combat, after combat next turn, because everything will have all the keywords on it. Does that matter? No, I don't. Actually, that count probably doesn't matter. Now that I'm thinking about it. Opponent's got Cosmos Charger and a Rattlechains coming in. Rattlechain's going to give this thing, what is it, hexproof? Hexproof. Looks like we're doing some spirits over there. Oh, that was all at the end step, by the way. Ranar the Ever Watchful. Totally did that in the wrong order this turn. Whoops. We've still got one really big Achroma as a blocker, though. Enough to keep everything away. Altar of Dementia. Undying Evil. That's fun. That is fun. Gives Phytotitan Undying. Sacrifices it. Who are they going to mill? Themselves. Gets a bunch of triggers. They draw a card. As good as our board is, both opponents are at 35. That's 70 damage we still need to do. This deck just doesn't scream punching out oodles of damage like a lot of other Boros decks can. Not like an Aurelia or an Adriana or something like that. That's just damage city. This deck's a little more nuanced. So far, a lot of the heavy lifting being done by this Achroma, because this Achroma is awesome. But boy, do I wish it had haste. I get it. It's already an insane card, and haste would really push it over the top. But man, it should have had haste. It would like almost be White Craterhoof with haste. Still doesn't quite scale damage the same way, because Craterhoof just scales a little bit too well. Opponent doing more graveyard shenanigans, drawing a bunch of stuff. Oh, looking for answers. Bond of Revival. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. That's cool. Bring it back. Keeper of the Dead. What is this? Sacrifice it. Choose target opponent who had at least 2 fewer creature cards in their graveyard than you did as you activated this ability. Destroy target non-black creature that player controls. Spicy. Wow, that is spicy. I have never seen this card. Exodus? Wow. Yeah, if they try to shoot a Chroma, which they should, I will 100% Teferi's protect that. Yeah, they're going to try to shoot a Chroma. Teferi's time. Crop rotation for opponent. There's a Kalitas for opponent. I need to get one of those for my tap creature tribal deck. Triple black is a little rough, but otherwise, very cool. Should just play it as a commander. That's what I should do. It's my kind of deck. Big, expensive commander with a tap ability that's slow and mana intense. Bring it on. Should probably get a couple more haste creatures in the deck because we do have this Odric and something like an Urabrask. Be a pretty good idea. Ogre Battle Driver, also not terrible. Also, Urabrask gives your entire team haste, another keyword, etc., etc. And there's a Hogak. Opponent's got some cool stuff going on over there. I didn't really introduce them. They're playing Gilrana, Caller of Wildwood, and Tormod the Desecrator, and just got some really interesting green-black graveyard shenanigans going on. And I like it because it's a little different than the typical green-black graveyard shenanigans, which is a little played out. I'm a little sick of Marin. There's a Vengevine. Yeah, cool card. Saw a Vengevine, Gleancrawler, this thing. Got to see some stuff that we don't normally see. Also a Kalitas. Unfortunately showing up a bit late for our opponent, but brings it back to our turn. We phase back in. Opponent's going to mill us. Yeah, it's fine. Come on, big creatures. Path, Wheel of Misfortune. Opponent's going to draw a card and gain some life. We get milled 2 more. Bruna is a cool card. Doesn't have haste, though. Actually, Bruna's one you want to cast from hand, unfortunately. Solemn Simulacrum and Prophetic Flamespeak. Oh, that's double strike. That one is double strike. and an Angel of the Ruins. Let's go heads. On the flip. Play the command tower. Yeah, I think double strike should take us home. We'll go 4 on this thing. Should be able to afford that. Sean's got 2 mana up. That's kind of terrifying. That being, well, I think we still have lethal on Xeno. Yeah, let's just try this. Marshal's Anthem, getting Stoneforge Mystic, Prophetic Flame Speaker, the War Singer, and what's this one? That's a Bruna. Bruna's cool. We'll get the Angel right here. Stoneforge Mystic, Angel of the Ruins trigger. We'll get the Moldervine and the Altar of Dementia. This card is so good, especially for a deck like this where you have some amount of reanimation in it, because you just plain cycle it early and then pull it out somewhere in the mid game and blow up 2 really important things from your opponents. It's been very, very good for me. Opponent's gonna sack a bunch of things first. I'll get Sunforger, just in case. Go to combat. Achroma on the bottom. Spread the abilities. Achroma ability. Let's get down to the killing. That's 20. That's 38. How much is that? Yeah, I think we're going to have to send an awkward amount of Xeno. Either way we do it. So send these ones over to Sean. Akiri triggers. Sword of the Animist. Usability. Get a land. Oh, Waves of Aggression is a magic card. We're out of mana, though. We are out of mana. Opponent can do a little bit of blocking, but they do all have Menace. Or does Menace not spread? Menace spreads. Menace spreads. Double block this one. Yep. Double block the other one. So trying to keep themselves alive and hoping to rip a board wipe off the top. Do we have Trample? I think we have Trample. Yeah, that's probably not going to help them. It's going to help them a little. Not going to help them that much. Having all the keywords is really fun. I don't know why. There's something just really cool about like this, and it's just a fun place to be. I think, it's fairly unique in Magic. There aren't a lot of cards that care about having a lot of keywords, I don't think, as far as I'm aware, but, the couple that are out there makes for a good little time. Opponent survives at 3. Well, that is unfortunate. Xeno goes down. Just Sean needs a board wipe off the top. We are actually pretty exposed to the board wipe. If I wasn't just talking right then, I was going to move a sword over to the Achroma in the event that he does come up with some removal. But I guess his life total is so low that as long as we protect a creature, that should be lethal. Land tax trigger. Ooh, opponent had a Texamach in their deck. And Sean doesn't find what he's looking for. Scoops it up right there. He had complained about getting stuck, having no lands earlier in the game. And then he has all lands. Yeah, that's not the best place to be. Things went pretty well for us. I mean, actually, they went extremely well. So here's the thing to take away from this is that we had Mana Crypt in our opener. This deck is a bit slower, probably significantly slower without that. Because that early Mana Crypt also allowed us to get sort of the Animus going really early. So our mana production really compounded on itself, allowing us to do just so much more than our opponents early in the game. So, that's just the Mana Crypt thing. If you don't have that Mana Crypt, this game is probably still going a few more turns. Opponents probably have more of a chance to interact, so there's probably more board wipes and whatever else. That green-black deck probably gets going. Drakuseth's back in play a few more times. Stuff like that. So the Mana Crypt at the start really does so much. It's such a broken card. I've spent a non-zero amount of time thinking about whether I should stop playing these on the channel when I'm building a deck that isn't made to be super savage. Because for most people in paper, only their very best decks have a Mana Crypt, if they even have one at all, because they're so expensive. So yeah, it's something I've gone back and forth on. And also, just it does make the game worse. Someone having a Mana Crypt early in the game is a big problem. Now, if it shows up turn 6, it's not too bad. But those early Mana Crypts change the game a lot in a way that I don't particularly care for. So we did see some of that. But as far as our commander, the ability is interesting. I think the Reanimator thing is probably one of the better ways to explore with this thing. The one concern is that who's it, Mika and Luca? Is that the Planeswalker that came out sometime in the last year? That's a very good Reanimator commander, and, the problem is that Odric just doesn't have any keywords on himself, and that means that whatever you're doing, you need another creature in play to really kind of get value from it, and that's just an annoying place to be. So it's always just going to be a little awkward. I kind of like the keyword thing that we had going on there. I think doing the keyword thing is interesting like we saw here, but I do think that the keyword thing is always going to devolve into Odric and Akroma, which are incredibly good together, and it begs the question, why not just run those as the commander? So that's the main issue that I'm running into with this commander. It's that whatever you're wanting to do, I think there's another commander that does it a little bit better. Is this the best equipment deck? No. Is it the best keyword deck? No. You'd probably want Odric or Akroma in the command zone for that. Is it the best Boros Go Wide deck? No. So that's sort of the struggle that it has. It's not really best in slot for any of your typical Boros builds. As far as things to think about, there's a couple cards I mentioned that totally forgot to put in the deck, Inspiring Statuary being one of them. I think Inspiring Statuary will be very good in this deck. Even just having a couple blood tokens turns them into mana. Having more mana, always good. And for funsies, trying out Gearport Ether Grid, probably also really fun. So we'll bring those in. What are we getting rid of? Anything that underperformed? Who knows? I'll figure it out. I like all these cards too much, and it'll take me way too long to cut them. But wrapping up my thoughts on this deck, so if you wanted me to place Odric into a tier list, I would probably say that this is a C tier commander. It's not completely useless, but it doesn't give you a ton either. And so I think that's the concern. So yeah, I would say it's about a C level deck. So I wouldn't expect to be tearing up higher power decks with this commander. There might be some possibility of that with the combo build. Don't know. Have to see. But for right now, I'm thinking it's about a C tier commander. Again, not completely useless, but it doesn't give you a ton either. So those are my thoughts. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.